Hello, my name is Dansker99, and I have something incredibly sensitive, but also very incredibly important for me to share. I've mentioned being a survivor of abuse before, but I think it is time that I evaluate further on my story, how I suffered in an abusive home. First of all, I want you guys to know that this is going to be really, really sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to step away from this video if you need to, because this is going to be incredibly dark and sad. I also want to tell you that this hoodie, these jeans that I'm wearing, all of this, these were my main pieces of attire in my abuser's home, as they were dark and symbolized my suffering, the very suffering I struggled to reveal to the world due to my forced isolation. Well, without further ado, I guess I'll evaluate further. For as long as I can remember, my mother has always been incredibly easy to upset with anger. From a young age, I would witness her constantly assaulting and screaming at my older brother. And something no pair of eyes should have to see, no matter how little. All I knew at the time was that it had to have hurt him. It had to have been miserable for him. I never knew that the effects would continue to be so drastic and painful. Later, at around 2021, I went to live with my mother after having difficulty prior with my dad, who really isn't a terrible person. She constantly manipulated me and made me believe she was the good guy and he was the bad guy. Over time, things continued to grow further and further out of hand. She would yell at me, scream at me, and physically beat me, getting in my face and threatening me with objects, as in the balled fists of her hands, sometimes speeding on the highways and asking me if I wanted to die. The suffering had taken an incredibly serious and painful toll on my mental health, and I continued to fall deeper down into depression. Each time I tried to run away and escape from her home and her abusive care, it would never work. I would tell the police what she was doing to me and beg them for help, but they could not and would not do anything, because there were no marks or anything present that they could use as evidence on my body. One time, my mother charged at me out of wrath and anger, and began to shove me, which would have knocked me over, and I would have had a chance of hitting my head on the metal oven behind me. So, in self-defense, to prevent this from happening, I smacked her on the face to prevent her from doing so, trying to get her away. She immediately covered her face and burst into tears like she was some kind of victim, the kind of victim she always believes that she is, even to this day. In a loud crying and wailing voice, she stated, "You are going to jail." When the police arrived, she exaggerated a red mark on her face, and with that they were ready to arrest me. Even though I explained to them her pattern and cycle of abuse and all of the things she was doing to me, begging them for help, they told me they did not care and that they ruled in favor of her. They stated, and I quote, "We are not concerned about what happened in the past. We are concerned about what you did today." And there I was, about to be thrown in juvenile hall. But she decided not to press charges, and they let me off the hook, and she stated that they told her that she could change her mind anytime and have me arrested. There I was, being betrayed by the one system I depended on to save my life. This is only one of many times this has happened. Each time something like this happened, I only felt more and more multiplyingly hopeless. The suicidal tendencies were getting stronger and stronger, and I was beginning to test my stamina and strength, pushing large butcher knives against my arms to see how far I would go. My life was continuing to be more and more of a curse, and I felt I would never escape. At one point, she threw me in a mental hospital called Parkside. I was in there for an extended period of time, giving my other family members enough time to work together and save me. That night, when I realized my efforts to escape her abusive care were finally going to come to an end, I cried. I cried pure happiness. When that happened, I had 2 friends in that mental hospital that were with me. One was named Braylon, and the other was named Lily. Braylon was 12, and I was 15. I felt like a big brother to him, and I cared about him a lot. You see, all the patients that were there were living incredibly miserable lives like I was. When I was told that I was finally getting to go back to my dad, I gripped Braylon's hand tight, in arm wrestle position, telling him, never give up. Whatever happens, never give up. There's a light in the darkness, and you are more than worthy of it. You can do it. Do it for me. Your friend. I'm counting on you, Braylon. When the day came time for me to leave, I felt truly relieved. Later, when I realized that YouTubers like Markiplier, Corey Kenshin, 8-Bit Ryan, and many more had a substantially powerful impact on my ability to keep going, and how they strongly affected my willfulness, I finally realized what made my calling to be a YouTuber good and true. I could continue to inspire hope in those who are suffering like I did, and give them a reason to keep going, a reason to live, and a selfless person to live for. And thus, I created this channel for that sole purpose. I want you all, because I know a lot of you may be suffering, to remember what I told Braylon and what I'm now telling you. Never give up. There is a light in the darkness, and you are worthy of it. You can do it. Do it for me. I'm your best friend, and I always will be. And as always, thanks for watching.